I hate this channel.
No!
I think that if someone was going to give the year of 2018 a slogan, it just might be nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Once considered a mental disorder, nostalgia causes us to collect memories, filtering out the negatives and sinking into the positives. It clouds our judgment and makes it hard for us to look forward. This is why we prop up so much of popular culture as far greater than it really was. Right now, we're in the midst of a pseudo-90s renaissance. Snapbacks are still huge, Full House has been rebooted on Netflix, and there's an entire cable channel dedicated to one decade of a single network. A network that for a period of time had taken over popular culture on an unprecedented scale. Nickelodeon was everywhere. In a day and age where kids have access to hundreds of TV channels, video platforms, content curation sites, it's becoming increasingly hard to imagine a time where to find something to watch, you flip to one of 10 channels and you are happy with your options.
But what if I told you there was an era of television that combined nostalgia with, well, actual, real quality?
On April 1st, 1979, a new network would have its first broadcast in that very environment. It would be the first dedicated all-children's channel, designed to be used as a selling tool for the first big wave of cable subscription services. It was a network specializing mostly in live-action shows that would air for half the day. 5 years into that network's life, and it was going about as poorly as it could. That is an exaggeration. The network would spend years finishing dead last amongst all cable networks in ratings. Seriously, dead last. Enter Geraldine Laybourne. Laybourne would take over as president of Nickelodeon in 1984 after years of sinking ratings and corporate confusion, and she would begin a 5-year process of rebranding the network. Nickelodeon would no longer be the network known for re-airing Tom and Jerry. Instead, Nickelodeon was about to change the world of animation and how we viewed cable networks altogether.
As your body grows bigger,
your mind must flower.
It's great to learn.
'Cause knowledge is power.
In the late 80s and early 90s, so much of children's programming had a singular focus: education. Whether it was the overt programming of Schoolhouse Rock or the family teachings of Alvin and the Chipmunks, children's networks and programming blocks were focused on appealing to parents as much as they were the children watching them. Nickelodeon, on the other hand, was ready to take a risk. They built programming around kids in a way that was normally reserved for teens and the MTV crowd. Ren and Stimpy, Our Real Monsters, Rocko's Modern Life, these were some of the first original animated programming to air on the network. They were wildly creative, subversive bits of animation that spoke to kids instead of at them. They didn't teach, they didn't educate, they did nothing but entertain. They were scripted segments of childhood imagination. They celebrated that childhood. They celebrated their audience. They didn't set out to mold it. And this idea would carry the programming throughout the 90s, even in the more balanced shows like Rugrats and Doug. Nick had begun dominating the animation space, and they began to understand their audience better than maybe any other children's network at the time. The creative team at Nickelodeon wanted to make sure that those kids watching those animated shows could grow with the programming. And so they respected that growth in their approach to their live action blocks, things that originally built the channel. Not content with being just another set of cartoons and children's comedies, Nick set out to offer kids an imitation of adult programming that their age group simply wasn't being offered. Game show programming that was as weird as it was entertaining, the now ubiquitous green slime coating the ideas of everything from Double Dare to Guts, giving kids a chance to watch people their age, just like them, do the very things they wish they could be doing. After that midday block ended, just while Saturday Night Live was dominating late night, Nick attacked that market as well. All that to this day is maybe the greatest sketch comedy show geared towards a younger demographic. It took everything that made SNL successful and placed it in the hands of children. A comedy with just a single adult, the show's fake producer, performed by kids for kids. It bred talents like Kenan Thompson and led to successes like Kenan and Kel and The Amanda Show, which in turn produced Drake and Josh. Nickelodeon created this style of entertainment with the idea of maintaining a demographic throughout their youth by creating through the lens of diversity in content. This era of quality and original programming, this diversity in programming, opened the door for Nickelodeon to expand in ways that at the time only Disney had been capable of. Nickelodeon was ready to be more than a cable network. Nickelodeon was ready to take over. This aggressive pop culture expansion would start in 1990 with Nick Magazine, a comedy magazine filled with games, jokes, its own mascot, comic strips, facts, slime food recipes, it was a natural extension of the network. It wasn't a hobbled together marketing ploy. Every issue was crammed with detail, with intrigue. It was exactly what the network was in print form, a celebration of being a kid. It was reading for them, a magazine for them. Kids could write in and ask the president of the network questions that would be answered the next month, or compete in speech bubble competitions. It was a level of engagement that most television networks only dream of. Now Nickelodeon wasn't just on screens, it was on shelves. Nick Magazine extended the network's reach beyond television. It made reading a priority for millions of children, and for many was a primary factor in developing a love for reading. And then they decided to reverse engineer the Disney approach and ensure their place in popular culture as more than a cable network by taking the brand out into the real world. To do this, an idea was cobbled together that was both practical and functional for the audience. Nickelodeon Studios would open at Universal Orlando in 1990. It was a haven for kids. Fans of the network of all ages could go and watch live tapings of nearly all of Nick's original programming. The studio was more than a theme park attraction, it was a fully functional production studio. Everything from All That to Double Dare 2000 was shot right there, within full reach of its audience. You could tour the facility, see how the shows are made. It was an opportunity no other children's network was offering its viewers, to be a part of the entertainment. Nickelodeon was now a place you could go there, you could be a part of it, and it was as real as television could be. Nick was a brand that you could attach yourself to outside of the one show you like or the one character you relate to. A brand you could read about, visit, ride, watch. And after following all of this up with the Nick Hotel, Nickelodeon had completed a decade and a half of utter domination within the zeitgeist of television.
It's 2019.
And it's been almost 30 years since the beginning of what people consider the network's golden age. Nickelodeon has changed. It hasn't gone downhill, it's just adapted. We've grown. Nostalgia tints the lens with which we view the programming that at the time was made for us. That's no longer the case. Now Nick is focused on a new generation. But what Nickelodeon was in the 90s will likely never be replicated. The way that it made a generation of kids truly feel like a part of something bigger than just cartoons. The anarchy with which they approached their live and animated programming, the beauty of a brand that wanted more than its competitors and knew exactly how to get it. If nostalgia is our way of combining the best of something and forgetting the worst, it's very easy to do that with that generation of Nickelodeon. It's very easy to only think about the good because there was so much of it. The 90s may be over, but for an entire generation, that green slime will forever be a part of who they are. And that
That is a big wrap on today's episode of Nerdstalgic. If you guys enjoyed it, press that like button down below. And if you haven't yet done so, press subscribe down below as well. That'll make sure you never miss a single episode of Nerdstalgic. You can also hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. That just makes sure you're actually notified when I upload a video onto this channel. I know I always ask you guys this, but down below, kind of give me an idea of what you guys want to see talked about next. What show, movie, anything about popular culture you want to see, put it down in the comments. And on your screen right now are 2 more episodes of Nerdstalgic. You can click on either of those to get an idea of, what else is on this channel. So you can do that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.